Influential Film Festival, ENIF 2024, November 27th to 30th in Enugu. Visit www.enif.org for more details.
Good morning and welcome to the Afia Morning Show. My name is Favor Obinyaluba, and if you're just joining us, you are right on time. Good morning once again. I have with me my wonderful co-host. I don't know where you get all these your caps from, but yeah, of course, he's a chief, so I think they shared it when he elected his chief.
Hi, Favor. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank God it's Friday, finally.
It's Friday.
Yes.
It's Friday. You've been counting down.
Yeah.
This week kind of flew, if you actually think about it.
Yeah, it was so
very fast.
up.
Yeah, it was like this. It felt like this week had somewhere to be. Like you had somewhere to be. This week actually kind of flew. But how was it for you?
Well, great. We're here doing the Lord's work. Finally, we are on Friday. And when it gets to Friday, we're approaching weekend to still work and rest. Let me put it that way, though.
Still work and rest, but at least
some people
you
think
have...
that during weekend, like, oh, go and rest. No, still work, go.
Still work, still strategizing for the next week. So it's just like a rinse and repeat. What's your plan for the weekend?
My plan for the weekend is, I think a couple of things that I'll be doing, right? Celebrations and whatnot. So visiting people. I was invited for a couple of them, but I know I'll just make one or two. I know. And a proposed travel. Maybe, I don't know. But if it's going to hinder me being in Enugu on Monday or Tuesday, then I wouldn't go. So, yeah. But that's that, by the way. So, what you up to?
So like I see he will go. He will go, no matter what you could, he will go. But I think when you say all these things on air and then people will be like, oh, I hope it's my events that he comes to. Because there's not one or two. I hope it's my event that he comes to.
A lot of events, the bar.
It's homecoming season, so there are a lot of events happening, a lot of fairs happening, I don't think we've even really spoken about the change of venues.
Yeah, but it's a conversation.
That's a real conversation to have.
It's going to hinder so many people's planned occasion and events, right, in Enugu State, because apparently that's secular. It's heartbreaking, but they know the reason why they had to put a halt to all the events that's meant to be happening at Obara Square, and only governmental events, only government-attached events are meant to hold at that square. Other events, privates should find somewhere else.
But for a government that is very media friendly and very open, would have expected maybe more clarity. More reasons why it was not going to happen. What happened for food and fashion, priceless fairs, priceless hairs fairs, and all of that. Like it's priceless. It's maybe a bit better because they kind of got it like maybe 2 weeks before, but food and fashion was the day before and all of that. So even though other people that have plans, because other people have already paid for the venue.
There's so many events are meant to happen at that square this
Christmas,
Yuletide, So and now it's going to be a case of trying to move to other events, places and all, and it might incur more cost for you because I know that place might be cheaper than other places around in Enugu,
the space and all of that. But I mean, we saw what happened in Food and Fashion. They made it work, and Food and Fashion Festival would be like a blueprint for other events that maybe had plans to use Okpara Square.
I would literally want to ascertain the main reason why that stuff was.
You and me both. You and me both. And I'm sure a lot of people too in Enugu really want to know the reason. But we'll hope that the government would, give us more clarity on that. But let's move to the national front and see if we get any clarity on the headlines that we have this morning. We're going to begin with Daily Sun. And this particular headline, Ojinwachuku and friends are very... Oh, it's not this headline. I'll tell you the headline that him and his friends are very excited for. But yeah, reps reject 6-year single tenure, power rotation, move to increase number of FCT High Court judges from 75 to 100. FG to continue to prioritize social investment programs. Reforms have weakened Nigerians' purchasing power, Tinubu tells IMF MD. Sanwo-Olu presents 3 trillion naira budget proposal to Lagos State House of Assembly. Crisis hits ACF over 2027 presidency. Forum chairman suspended. New group League of Northern Democrats rallies ACF, NEF, MBF to return power to the north. Ekpa's arrest. Military hails Finnish police. Wants him extradited to face justice. NASS approves Tinubu's new external borrowing plan of 2.2 billion naira.
Okay, I'm starting.
$2.2 billion.
Oh, okay, nice. The clarification. Daily Trust. IPOP. Military seeks extradition as Finland jails Ekpa. Reps reject 6-year single term for presidents, governors with collapse. NEC raises committee on national electrification. Ex-Fedeco scribe Ahmadu Kofi buried in Castana. Palestinians welcome ICC's arrest warrant for Netanyahu. Girl 13 beats classmates to death in Kogi. Kano governor reunites 76 freed teenagers with families. And lastly, ACF suspends chairman Usman over unauthorized statement.
Moving over to Vanguard. Yes, this is the headline that Ochochukwu and friends are excited over. Terrorism, presidency mom, DHQ thrilled over arrest of Simon Ekpa for others. Government of Finland arrests Simon Ekpa for crimes related to terrorism. We have nothing to say yet, IPOB. Why we can't comment now, presidency. DHQ excited, hopes Ekpa will be extradited to Nigeria to face justice. 2/3 of households lack money for healthy food, MBS survey. Reps reject bill on 6-year single tenure for presidents, governors. NASS okays Tinubu's fresh request for $2.2 billion external loan. Atiku slams Tinubu, says debt burden crushing economy. 2024 CAF Awards, Nigeria women dominate with 15 nominations. We strongly support Tinubu's reforms, says IMF MD. 2025, while we're proposing 3 trillion naira budget, Sanwo-Olu, tax reform will be on side of Nigerians, NASS. Ogoni 4 versus Ogoni 9, the blame game continues 30 years after.
Starting again from this day, Tinubu to IMF, our reforms now bearing positive results, says his government will continue to prioritize welfare of the poor and vulnerable. States Nigeria tinkering with tax reforms to further stimulate economy. Georgieva lauds social investment programs as a way of cushioning the effects of reforms, says IMF rejected $1 trillion into injected $1 trillion into world economy in last 2 years. Zenith Tech Fair 4.0 ends on a high as hackathon finalists get 77.5 million naira cash reward. ICC issues arrest warrant for Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza. That's the last one, right? Okay, sorry. Lagos, 3 trillion naira 2025 budget prioritizes growth in tourism, economic affairs.
Moving over to Daily Independent. Kwara, Adamawa, Kebbi, FCT delayed decision on state police. NEC gives state FCT 1 week to submit reports, raises committee on national electrification to check grid collapses. RMAFC agency that sets salary structures for public officials broke. Nigeria loses $28 billion annually to power outages. Tinubu's loans bringing unbearable pressure on economy. Atiku Ayu gave Tinubu opportunity to be president, says Bode George. NASS replaces death sentence for drug traffickers. 100 million Nigerian children at risk of climate emergency, UNICEF alerts. Reps reject 6-year single term for presidents, governors. ACF suspends chairman for comments on 2027 presidency. Senate okays Tinubu's 1.767 trillion naira loan request, and Finnish police arrest IPOB Simon Ekpa over terrorism charges.
Moving on to Nigerian Tribune. State Police Kwara KB Adamawa FCT get 1 week to submit positions. NEC sets up committee to deepen participation in electrification. 2027 presidency, ACF suspends chairman over unauthorized statement. League of Northern Democrats meets ACF, NEF, MPF. Reps reject rotational presidency, 6-year single tenure for presidents and governors. We have received 161 areas of constitutional amendment attributed to the deputy speaker. Sanwo-Olu proposes 3 trillion naira budget for 2025. Zenith Tech Fair 4.0 concludes with hackathon. Winners receiving 77.5 million naira in cash prizes. NAS retirees lose 20, others bedridden as FG delays inauguration of pension board. A 2-year-old ex-clerk leads meeting with Akpabio, Barua orders. International Criminal Court issues arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister. At UBA Business Series, experts say innovation, passion crucial to building successful businesses. CDS hails IPOP leader Simon Ekpa's arrest in Finland, expresses hope of his extradition. Lastly,
moving over to The Guardian. Grassroots neglect, mediocrity strip Nigeria of youthful population edge. Sanwo-Olu presents 3 trillion naira budget to Assembly. Senate reviews law, okays life imprisonment for drug traffickers. Address internal conflict or face 2027 defeat. Bode George warns PDP. Governors, National Assembly agree on constitution review. Atiku, LCCI faults Tinubu's 1.7 trillion naira fresh loan amid lawmakers' swift approval. Ekpa, Ohaneze, DHQ, Lord pro-Biafra agitators arrest, hopeful of region's peace. NNPC scouts financiers for 5,120-kilometer pipeline amid $2.9 billion refinery repairs. 71% of households adversely affected by food price hike, says NBS.
Moving over to New Telegraph. How Atiku Ayu made Tinubu president in 2023, attributed to Bode George, urges former VP to drop 2027 presidential ambition, says some members already working for APC's 2027 victory as Tuku, Wobodo, Ali Ghana, others not to keep quiet. Aviation. FG's pension liability hits 250 billion naira, may hamper concession. Cyber threats against Nigerian banks rose with 18,872 monthly attack. Drug trafficking. NAS amends NDLEA Act, replaces death sentence with life term. Tinubu to IMF MD, we will continue to prioritize poor vulnerables' welfare. DHQ troops dismantling Lakurawa, other terrorist military capabilities, says new terrorist group threats to national security. Terrorism. Finnish police arrest Simon Ekpa, 4 others. How escalating insecurity creates fears in us, attributed to Anambra residents. Reps reject 6-year single-term rotational presidency. Governorship approves Tinubu's 1.767 trillion naira loan request. Move to raise FCT High Court judges from 70 to 100. We will be actively involved in constitution amendments attributed to the governors. NEC moves to end grid collapse, sets up committee on national electrification, asks Adamawa Kwara KB to submit reports on state police within a week, considers alternative funding for RMAFC. Tinubu's loans bringing insufferable pressure on the economy, attributed to Atiku. And lastly, right here, 1.3 trillion oil derivation theft allegation against me fabricated, attributed to Okowa.
Moving over to the Matrix. Anti-terror fight. DHQ hails Simon Ekpa's arrest, hails international community for partnership in fight against terrorism. Says it's a step towards extradition to Nigeria to face justice. Reveals military troops have eliminated notorious terrorists, 114 others. War crime, ICC issues arrest warrant for Netanyahu's gallant Dave. Senate approves Tinubu's $2.2 billion loan request. Sanwo-Olu unveils 3 trillion naira budget of sustainability for 2025. Economic policies, Atiku renews war of words with Tinubu. Your failed policies, bone-crushing loans, taking Nigeria back to indebtedness. Senate leader Bamidele denies alleged altercation with Akpabio. I think that's all we can take on the Matrix.
Okay, now the last one right here, the first news. Our reforms yielding results. Nigerians now see benefits attributed to President Tinubu. Atiku, Tinubu's loans are bone-crushing to Nigerians. Senate green lights Tinubu's $2.2 billion loan amid rising debt concerns. NAFDAC uncovers fake alcohol packaging centers in Lagos, seizes 2 billion naira items. Sanwo-Olu presents 3.5 trillion naira 2025 budget. Reps to criminalize HNDBSC discrimination. DHQ hails arrest of IPOB Simon Ekpa as landmark anti-terrorism success. NAS amends NDLEA Acts, imposes life imprisonment for drug offenders. And lastly, military neutralizes 115 terrorists, rescues 138 hostages. And that's the last one right there. Boom.
A lot of headlines. This is surprising for a Friday.
Yeah,
because
like,
you know, when you
on a Monday, you get
Monday, Tuesday, you see all the headlines. But for a Friday, there are a lot of things that happen.
A lot of things are happening in Nigeria and in the world. So, what do you expect? So,
I mean, what do you really expect?
But
of course,
I don't know. No.
Okay, of course, to have this conversation and to do all of this analysis, we've just been joined by Comrade Nelson Nanawafo, who's the Executive Director, Foundation for Environmental Rights Advocacy and Development, FENRAT Nigeria, Abia State Chapter. Good morning, sir. How are you doing? Good morning, sir. Can you hear us? All right.
My time is blowing.
There are a lot of headlines, honestly. And because, which one do you think we should start with? I mean, what's your initial reaction to the headline that you were particularly excited over?
It's not like being excited, but it's in anticipation. Everybody's been anticipating and asking the question, why is this guy just
getting away with what he's doing?
Yeah, he's just left there and he's just causing harm, doing what he's doing. And I'll ask this question, I always ask people, are you guys not thinking, right? Like being rational in your thinking. Somebody is causing mayhem, saying all sort of things, inflicting pain on your people. And some other people who are your people are sponsoring this infliction of pain, very excruciating pain, putting you in fear, because it promises you to give you what could actually be diplomatically conversed about, right? But you want to take it by force. So you want to take it by war, because apparently that's what it is, right? Because you calling out and having your foot soldiers go around marauding, you know, putting fear in people. And you would, I'm like asking my Igbo brothers and sisters, and you guys are not rationally thinking about what this guy is doing. Like, some people who support, the supporters of this guy, I'm like, are you guys like normal? Are you guys human?
I think for me, the craziest thing, or one of the craziest things for me, is the fact that he's not here. Somebody is all the way in Finland and is making really like tough decisions, you know, telling you we're going to do this. I remember when Start Home started in 2021, and at first it was due to the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arrested
Yeah.
and all of that. So, you know, we should sit at home in the Southeast as a silent protest, you know, to protest for him and, you know, to show that, we're serious about, especially we're not going to lie and come out and say that, what he is facing is a bit unfair, because he's not the only person that's been calling for
like
a
other
particular
ones
sector.
they were arrested, incarcerated, and released.
Yes, and
So
released,
that's what
but
I'm
we've
asking.
seen him back and forth for years now, which has really begged the question. And so the cause has always been good, but the fact that someone who is not even in Nigeria has hijacked this for a long period of time, people have even been donating to it and all of that, and you are not even in Nigeria to see the extent at which the thing you are calling out. Sometimes you hear some of the statements he makes and how, you know, a lot of stuff, authoritative.
And the Prime Minister.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's really, really crazy. Mr. Nelson, are you on the call now?
Yes, I'm here with you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you doing?
How are you doing? You're particularly beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We're having a conversation. You know, we read a couple of headlines, and the major one is about the arrest of Simon Ekpa in Finland. And I want to know your initial reaction to it. What do you think? What do you make out of the situation?
Yeah, actually, I've been following up Simon Ekpa's press releases, statement, utterances, and that one is happening in Finland, where the guy is staying. But we need to ask our question: who are the people in Nigeria that are responding to all those his statements, to his press releases, to his sit-at-home issues? Because we need to find out. Because not that he is far away in Finland, issuing a statement, making an utterances, and here in Nigeria, people are responding to it. Because I've read this type of concern before. Some people call for sit at home. We said we don't know who called for sit at home. People will still sit at home. Those people who refuse to observe that sit at home goes out, then they will be attacked. So I think that the Nigerian government have also failed on the area, because they will find out who are the people that are the foot soldiers that this same member has in Nigeria, that are responding to all these threats, to all this is a sit at home, and all the issues that are really happening. He's just doing a media campaign far away from Finland, while people here in Nigeria are responding to it. So, and if you're charging him for terrorism, that particular crime was not done in Nigeria. He is now far away in Finland, making a statement, doing a media campaign here in Nigeria. So those are going to charge, especially, are people that are in Nigeria that are perfecting all the whole instructions, all the whole media briefing, all the whole insecurity that is happening in the Southeast. And that is the way the government have really failed. So if you're charging him for terrorism, for helping and abetting violence in the Southeast, I mean, they have to go far to a strong legal interpretations for them to prove their point. Because I am so much worried. I'm so much worried of after what happened in the Southeast, when he will be far away from Finland, he give an order, and some people here in Nigeria will observe it. Who are their foot soldiers?
So I want to ask, do you support his, a lot of people have been calling for his extradition back to Nigeria, and even a couple of headlines, I think DHQ, a lot of people want him to come back to Nigeria to face justice. Are you in support of that, or do you think that the Finnish authority can handle it?
There's an international law that really guides about extraditions, and it has to be looked into. If actually what he has committed has breached an international processes and international criminal laws that will make him to be extradited to Nigeria. Because I know Nigeria and Finland has an international diplomatic ties, and they also have some engagement. So we look at the legal processes. This, I mean, the international law, where was that crime committed? Was it committed in Finland? Was it committed in Nigeria? We need to find out. Because when you said somebody committed offense in Finland, and you're bringing him here to Nigeria to come and try him, is he among the people that are perpetrating the crime in the Southeast? He's just there issuing statement, and some people are obeying. So we should look for who are those people that are in Nigeria here that are perpetrating all this crime. So I think it has an international legal dimensions and interpretations before we can expedite him back to here in Nigeria. To try him for an offense he did not commit here in Nigeria, for something he released in Finland, what some people are perpetrating it here in Nigeria.
Okay, from what I could actually ascertain from what you are saying, are you saying Simon Ekpa walking out free from this hook?
No. I said it has a legal interpretations, a legal analysis, and so some of the piece of the international law. So probably when the trial will start, then we begin to look at some of the issues that involves Nigerian right to try him, his involvement in Finland, and some of the issues that were raised against him as an act of a terrorism. I'm not saying he's going to go hook free, but I'm saying that there has to be some international legal analysis and interpretations to find out if he's guilty or not.
Okay. Let's move away from that a bit, and I want to bring your thoughts to these two on Daily Sun, right? And this one reads: Reps reject 6 years single tenure power rotation. Apparently, for presidents and governors, it's been in debate if they're going to just have one single term of 6 years and just go, instead of always maybe in the third year or preparing to for the electioneering for the next year, which is going to usher you into the second tenure. But instead of that, let's just call it what it is. Just have your 6 years and leave office. You usher in another candidate or whatnot. So what do you make out of this decision? Is it right? Was it going to be a great deal for governors and presidents to have just a single term and leave office, or the rejection, as stated here by the rep members?
Yeah, thank you so much. That bill has come up before when President Goodluck Jonathan was the president. That bill was sent to the National Assembly. It was part of the constitutional review process that the president is sent to the National Assembly as an executive bill, asking them, pushing for 6 years single tenure. And there was a lot of condemnations, a lot of argument on that process. But I am also of the view that what Nigeria has turned into a democratic process, failures of service delivery, insincerity by the side of the politicians. So I am against that 6 years single tenure. I'm of the view that when you finish the 4 years tenure, and if you do not do well, Nigerians, they will not re-elect the person back. But not in a situation that somebody is given 6 years single tenure. He can perpetrate any crime. He can do what he wants to do, and he put the country into serious jeopardy, knowing fully well that he's not going to come back to the saddle again. So I am against that 6 years single tenure. I am saying that the 4 year renewable tenure is okay. If after 4 years the person do not do well, then Nigerians will vote that person out and bring in a new person. Because I know this discussion has also been going on, and some lawmakers buy onto it, while some do not buy onto it. It depends on the angle that this particular bill is coming from. And I know that this bill was brought during the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, and the bill do not see the light of the day. Thank you.
But apparently, right, one of the reasons why maybe people are clamoring for that 6 single tenure is because whenever someone is ushered into the office, winning elections and whatnot, and when they get into there, it's sacrosanct, always using power of incumbency to come back to the second tenure. What do you make out of that too?
Yes, actually, that's actually why we are advocating for a more credible electoral process, so that elections could be transparent. INEC could be independent. You heard the comment of the former President General Obasanjo this morning. He was saying that INEC should be reformed. INEC should be independent. If we have a more credible electoral process, Nigerians can decide after 4 years who they want to come back to the saddle. So that we can remove the huge level of executive interferences in the electoral process. And that's the reason why these lawmakers are clamoring for 6 years tenure. So that they can go there and spend all the whole 6 years, do what they want to do, and put the country backward. We actually see what will be facing in the country: economic uncertainty, insecurity, failure of service delivery, and stuff like that. So we are advocating that in the spirit of transparency, in the spirit of popular participation, that the 4 year single, the 4 year renewable tenure is fine. So, and as we continue to canvass for a credible electoral process and the independence of the INEC, we can, in the nearest future, have a credible electoral process where we can vote out a president after 4 years if the person refuses to perform. Thank you.
All right, let's move to this headline on this day. Tinubu to IMF, are reforms now bearing positive results? This is a bit contradictory, if you ask me, especially as a couple of days ago when he went to the G20 summit in Brazil, he came out and said, we have terrorism, our people cannot go to the farm, insecurity is doing this, our children are out of school. So you, a couple of days ago, went to Brazil to tell the world that Nigeria and Africa, everything is not well, and now we are telling IMF that reforms are now bearing positive results. This is on this day paper, and there are a couple of writers here saying, says his government will continue to prioritize welfare of the poor and vulnerable. States in Nigeria tinkering with tax reforms to further stimulate economy, and a couple more headlines there. What is your take on this?
Yeah, this is the same IMF that released a report. They said Naira had been one of the weakest currency across Africa. And then also one of the most painful in that report is that they said that roughly up to 20 million Nigerians are trapped in abject poverty. And we are seeing it here, we are seeing it across the country. We are seeing the type of hardship people are passing. Economic uncertainty, insecurity, and this is almost close to 2 years of this administration. So I don't know the yardstick that the presidency will stand to claim that his reforms are making impact. Government are still borrowing. We've been borrowing money, and our debt profile has been increasing. Our debt servicing has been increasing. There is a high level of unemployment. Inflation rate is going higher almost every day. So I don't know the yardstick that government is using to to put that argument with the IMF that the economic reforms is actually yielding a success. The economy is going down, and the government have not a very come up with a good economic policy to address all this issue. So I think IMF, they are correct. The economic reforms are not making headway. We're not seeing it, the impact in the economy. The fuel subsidy removal savings, what are we using it for? What is happening to our social safety net? How do we fund the budget? But still, up till now, government are still borrowing. Government are still borrowing money to fund the budget, borrowing money to take social safety nets. So it is unfortunate, it is unfair, and I think that the president should look inward. Look inward and see how they're going to reform the whole economic indicators and sectors, and also bring Nigeria back to force. It is unfortunate the economic policies is not making headway. It's not making an impact on the life of the people.
Oh, well, let's just hope that we keep hoping and renew our hope every other day. I tell you, any day you wake up, just take a capsule or two of renewed hope, because that's apparently what it is in Nigeria. So let me move you to New Telegraph, right? And let's get into the quagmire in PDP. We had Bode George the other day calling out Atiku Abubakar. So here reads how Atiku IU made Tinubu president in 2023, attributed to Bode George. And this one says, urges former VP to drop 2027 presidential ambition. Says some members already working for APC's 2027 victory. as Tuku, Nwobodo, Ali, Ghana, others not to keep quiet. You know, ask Tuku, Nwobodo, Ali, Ghana, others not to keep quiet. What do you make out of this calling out by Bode George, right? And also, everybody, these days, Atiku is the front burner of all the papers. All through last 2 weeks, he's been out there making sure he's calling out this government, making sure he's that strong opposition, because this is how you align yourself, by the way, that strong opposition. So what do you make out of Atiku's ambition again in 2027? Because allegedly or indirectly, that's where his mind's at. For all he's doing at this point in time, calling out President Tinubu's policies not working, he can adopt his and whatnot. And here, Bode George telling him, sir, I think it's time for you to just, move away. And he also said that by 2027, Atiku would be 81 years old, and he shouldn't be thinking or anticipating to come vie for the presidency again in Nigeria. Your take?
Thank you so much. Atiku is playing a role of a credible opposition, and that's actually what he's supposed to do, because the beauty of a democracy is when you have a very credible opposition that holds government to account. So, Bode George telling Atiku to forget his presidential ambition, it is not in place, because you can see people who have tried the seat of power so many times across the world, and at the last trial they got it. Nigeria now is on serious crossroad that we need somebody who has experience, who has been in government. The vice presidency was former vice presidency has been in government. He has been in government for 8 years. He runs the processes. He has even have companies here in Nigeria, and he runs those firms, and also has been engaging in the overall politics across the federation, across the six geopolitical zone. So we're looking for somebody who has an experience, no matter the age, because we're talking about experience. Experience matters. Somebody who can drive that economic policy, somebody who can bring that change. So that the former president Atiku Abubakar has his right. It is right to seek for an election of the office of the presidency as many times as he wants, until probably by the grace of God, until when he gets it. And the way he has been holding the government to account is good, because that is the work of an incredible opposition. So that there will be a check and balances, so that they will checkmate the excesses of the executives. So it's unfortunate that somebody who is from the same political party with Atiku Abubakar, Bode George, will be coming out to the open to say Atiku he should share his presidential ambition, instead of him to support him as a credible opposition, to hold this government to account, and also to prepare the party ahead of the 2027 elections. And what Atiku is doing a work of a credible opposition, holding government to account, raising the issue of economic failures, making government to stand up to their tax and to their responsibility. So I don't think what Atiku Abubakar is doing is bad, and it is very much unfortunate. Somebody who is a BOT, somebody who is a stakeholder in the party, coming up to tell the former vice president to share his presidential ambition.
I completely agree with you. He's doing the work of a credible opposition. This is what's expected of the opposition in this time.
Literally, yes. But the thing now is that they are saying he's been campaigning. He's been, campaigning for presidency since 1993, and he's also going to be 81 years old by 2027. It's not time for you to step aside, maybe sponsor or get one of somebody who...
Well, who knows? Who knows? 2027 will be a very interesting time. He may step down, he may step aside, he may look at the odds may no longer be in his favor. If he doesn't win 2027, what happens again? He'll be 85 by the next election.
And also the North is calling out that they have to take power by 2027 and making sure that Tinubu is not affecting them rightfully. Yeah.
I mean, 2027 will be a very interesting time. It's almost
yes, it will be an interesting time, and I think he's doing the work of opposition, and probably by that time the party will decide within themselves, because it's the party that decides who they give the party a ticket. They say, that you have become so old, we want you to groom in new person that are going to be in the saddle. Or the party will look at his weight of experience and his knowledge in the political system and ask him to come and also delegate people within the party structures who are going to work with him. You actually know how we saw the health status of Mr. President Tinubu now. When he was doing his electoral campaign, he was not stable, and the party continue to push him and say that this is our candidate. So it depends on the political parties. The party will look at what the person is bringing to the table. Did the person have enough experience to drive that process? If the person has the clout to handle all the social cultural problems affecting this our big country and also provide a lasting solution. So it is within the political party to decide who they are going to give the party a ticket to run for that election. It is not for Bode George to decide. It is the entire party issue, and the party will have to decide.
Well, let's see. Like I said, 2027 will be a very interesting time. God keep us alive.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Comrade Nelson, for joining us this
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course, that was Comrade Nelson Nanawafo, Executive Director, Foundation for Environmental Rights Advocacy and Development, FENRAT Nigeria. We'll go on a very quick break. When we return, we have a very interesting special report for you around the region.
What is your attitude to being Igbo and the sense of culture? You know, Anas and Igbo, we're very expressive, we're very almost too flamboyant and proud and arrogant. What's your sentiment about it?
Being Igbo in Nigeria is, I mean, you need to work extra hard. Where other people will work 70% and succeed, you need to work 95% to succeed.
What's so special about that thing that everybody's so proud to say, I'm an 042 guy?
I really don't know how to put it for you to. But you are an 042, but maybe you understand it better. But
well, I want to hear it from your perspective, because I've seen people either in Lagos or Kaduna, or when they see some guy, the way he's behaving, they say, oh yeah, bro, and like, what do you mean? Say, now look at him now. He's just proper, civilized. And there's people of our generation that no, yeah, boy, Enugu is an Enugu brought up. He's an Enugu guy.
You know everybody. Everybody knows. Everybody.
This is probably one of the best planned cities in the world. Definitely. I'll be honest. Yeah.
I believe you. I believe
you. All this passion, these things about passion. Does it pay the bills?
They don't talk about, most Igbo people don't do one business. Everything I do, I don't do things that I don't have passion for, no matter how much that business might be yielding.
In a way, you're an artist, aren't you?
I think I am.
Perhaps we're the only TV channel in the whole of Africa that we have our banner up on Mount Kilimanjaro. He took the Afia banner and flag
at the roof of Africa.
At the roof of Africa. Okay, thank you.
Welcome back to the program. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show. And like I said just before the break, we have an amazing, very interesting special report for you around the region. And we are going to be going to Owerri in Imo State, where the persons with disabilities lament lack of inclusivity and defy odds to survive. In a society characterized by discrimination of certain groups, some individuals rise above their circumstances and defy expectations. Miriam Oyegbule, our correspondent in Owerri, brings the stories of two physically challenged persons who refuse to let their disabilities define them or limit their potential. Instead of begging, they found meaningful ways to sustain themselves. Her report.
Here, on a bustling street of Owerri, amidst the chaos and noise, you find vulnerable persons with disabilities begging for alms from passers-by to survive. Notwithstanding, there are persons with exceptional stories who, despite physical challenges and societal discrimination, have chosen a path of hard work over despair. Meet Prince, a middle-aged man who lost the use of his legs to polio at age 5. Instead of succumbing to despair, Prince turned to sport activities to earn a living.
I play wheelchair basketball. I'm the captain of wheelchair basketball. I play badminton, Imo State chapter, Imo State team, yeah. I'm the captain of badminton. I'm a good medalist in badminton in wheelchair. I represent Imo State. I have about 2 gold medals and 1 silver. So I really play. I'm a coach too. I coach para soccer football. There's all these outside people hanging around the road. I train them. I have my boys.
The journey, though, has not been a smooth one. He has had to grapple with discrimination at various levels, even in access to quality health care.
There was a time I went to FMC. The way they treat us is the way they treat the able-bodied. They don't even regard us. They don't even have any special something. You understand what I mean? If it is a good government, they just give us that treatment. When I was about to write my name, I don't need to start struggling with them or going to the line. They just need to say, well, come, just give me, you understand what I'm saying? It's the preference, but they don't have it for here. They don't have it here in Nigeria.
Prince says he has a supportive partner and is not considering correction surgery for his legs due to financial constraints. Despite facing limitations to some of his goals, he is a good driver. He needs help every time to get into the car and out of it. For the 3-year-old, Kingsley has been unable to work since he turned 2 after he was given expired polio vaccines.
I wasn't born like this. It just occurred after 2 years after my birth. According to my parents, I was born fit. It was okay. But after 2 years of birth, I had polio. I had poliomyelitis. So they said the vaccine they gave me then was expired vaccine from Nigeria.
He says the doctors have declared his condition as permanent and irreversible by surgery. Like Prince, he plays for the Imo State basketball team. Although he has a supportive wife and 2 children, his finances suffered so much that he has to will himself home on most days to cut cuts. Despite his condition, he stays positive.
You know, sometimes you go to government or go to people that are supposed to help you to know your rights so they can achieve your rights, whatever that is being meant for you. So, but they'll tell you, they turn you down, and, keep on posting you up and down. So that brings the depression in me to showcase. But sometimes I say, well, I've been over this over and over. So there's no need living with depression. I call it the things of the past. Since I have my muscles, I can go out and keep myself fit and see what I can do for my family, not looking at anybody else any longer. Whatever somebody who has 2 legs can do to survive, I, Kingsley, sitting on which I can do it more better. If there's opportunity.
A graduate of mathematics and computer science, Kingsley's initial dream was to work in the oil and gas sector, but it was cut short due to discriminatory flaws in the job market.
Disability discrimination. Where are you going to stay? Where is wheelchair going to stay? Why are we going to make a space for you? You cannot be able to climb upstairs. You cannot be able to. Who's going to carry around all those flimsy excuses? So it keeps on denying us job here with the house certificates for job. So I don't have nothing to do than to go and think back how to make use of my life.
These men's stories are not just about survival. They are about thriving against the odds. The belief that the government should work towards ensuring inclusivity for physical challenged persons in Nigeria.
I want if the government can come in to help us more, because we need, if we can get empowerment, we really need empowerment. Most of us are hanging out, we're doing nothing. So, and that is why we are really suffering. But if we are empowered, we won't even stress anybody.
Had it been our government includes the physically challenged people in all the areas that we're supposed to be, nobody will be shouting. We will not be having any issues. One, had it been they have a job for us. Once you come up from the university, you go straight to your ministry to work.
Although the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Bill into law in 2019, the bill is yet to be domesticated in Imo State. In Owerri, Miriam Unyebule for Afia Television.
Get ready for the 5th edition of the Eastern Nigeria International Film Festival, ENIF 2024, happening from November 27th to 30th in the vibrant city of Enugu. This year's theme, Reimagine, invites filmmakers to push the boundaries of storytelling and embrace new narratives. With over 40 films from 15 countries, ENIF 2024 promises an unforgettable experience featuring film screenings, workshops, thought-provoking panels, award ceremonies, and networking opportunities. Join us for the special opening film, The Man Died, inspired by the writings of Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. From captivating screenings and immersive workshops to Tales by Moonlight and vibrant panel discussions, ENIF is your gateway to the world of African storytelling. Proudly supported by Enugu State Government, British Council, Afia TV and Radio, European Union Delegation to Nigerian ECOWAS, Center for Memories, Solid 100.9 FM, and a host of other partners. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to be part of Nigeria's most influential film festival, ENIF 2024, November 27th to 30th in Enugu. Visit www.enif.org for more details.
In a world of fast fashion, diversity and passion is the rebel we need. It's Abba Fashion Week 2024. Expect the unexpected, where style meets creativity as top-notch fashion enthusiasts converge to explore the grandeur of fashion, from avant-garde couture to ready-to-wear, with 50 runway designers, 50 exhibitors, and over 150 models. Date, Wednesday, 27th November 2024. Street fashion from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, 28th November 2024. Fashion masterclass from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Friday, 29th November 2024. Fashion runway from 6 p.m. till Mama calls. Venue, GIA Event Center. For sponsorship, partnership, and further inquiries, simply call 0813-923-2152 or 0703-805-4504. Follow us on all social platforms. About Fashion Week. Creativity made style. Proudly supported by Afia TV.
Homecoming event happening near you this week. Information about these events, visit www.afiahomecoming.com. For inquiries and sponsorship, call 0703-645-5315. Come home and make memories.
Kelechi.
Yes, mommy.
Get me my stick of cigarettes.
Okay, ma'am.
Brother John said make you give me 2 sticks of cigar.
I beg, take, make you go.
You're welcome back to the program. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show. My name is Favor Obinyaluba, and of course, Ojin Wachuku Kembonamboabi.
Yeah.
Is still in the studio with me, and we've just been joined by 2 young men,
Obiajulu,
Camillus Ikechukwu, who is the president, AMR Club ASUT, and Okonkwo Lucky Chukwebuka, member, AMR Club ASUT, and we are going to be having a conversation for our health and lifestyle series on antimicrobial resistance awareness in Nigeria. Good morning, how are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, I'm fine.
Okay, so let's go right into it. What does antimicrobial resistance? What does it mean?
So antimicrobial resistance is when drugs, antibiotics stop working over time due to mutation or growth of bacteria or microorganisms over time. So it means infections, they become harder to treat because antimicrobials are now resistant to antibiotics that we use.
So basically, for people that overuse antibiotics, they stand a chance of, they are at risk of getting
antimicrobial resistance. Not just people that abuse antibiotics, but then there's a wide range of ways of getting microbial resistance.
Yes, and you said people that overuse, right? The thing with overusing antibiotics is the toxicity that comes with it. But I think what contributes majorly to antimicrobial resistance is underuse. You know, there's this notion where don't overuse drugs so it doesn't kill you, so underuse it and be safe, right? But when you don't use the appropriate dosing, that's why there's a dose regimen. Use this drug for this period of time, right? So when people either don't complete the duration or they take less than the standard dosage, what happens is that these microorganisms in us, they get schooled. They get informed that, okay, this thing kills us, so we won't let it kill us. We will mutate, we will change our form so it doesn't kill us. And that's how suboptimal dosage leads to antimicrobial resistance.
So it's not just overuse, also underuse can cause antimicrobial resistance. Wow. For those of you who do not finish your medications or finish, once you feel better, you throw it away. Well, you also you're also at risk for this. But give us, paint a picture for us, give us the statistics. How prevalent is this in Nigeria?
Okay, the statistics you have, in Nigeria, we don't really do more statistics, but then I'll give you a general statistics for WHO. I think around the world we have 1.9 or 1.27 million deaths yearly directly attributed to AMR misuse, AMR abuse. Yeah, while we have about 4-point-something million indirectly. That's for other cases that have to do with surgeries, antibiotics not working during surgeries. Yeah, we have a whole lot of numbers for that side. Like we have, I think malaria and HIV with TB combined is not up to the death toll of AMR.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that large?
Yeah.
It is that large. You want to say something?
Yes,
please,
it's massive because this AMR is also called the silent pandemic, in the sense that it's spreading, but people don't know about it. They don't know that there's a phenomenon as this, that such a thing like this exists. And we saw a statistics where they said in every 3 minutes, one child dies of AMR. Is that bad? But it's silent. Nobody knows about it. Is that critical?
So because it's not malaria and typhoid.
That's the most popular thing in Nigeria, malaria and typhoid, right? So talking about awareness and making people know about this silent killer, because apparently it would be sounding strange to so many people right now, right? So what how you guys trying to push the message out there so people would know that there's something out there that you don't know? It's not that HIV and tuberculosis, right? Is not even a killer like this. Like, this is a silent killer. He's there and he's mutating every other day and taking people's lives. But you don't know. Apparently, if it's not malaria, if it's not typhoid, we keep deaf ears and whatnot. So let's talk about how we're trying to spread out this message and for people to be aware that there is something out there you need to be wary of.
Just before you answer Ojuwanchukwu's question, you said something that 1 in 3 children are dying due to AMR abuse.
One child every 3 minutes.
One child every 3 minutes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. It's a very scary. It's a very scary statistic.
But sensitization is very important.
Yeah, but does it mean that it does not have a symptom? Like, you don't know that, oh, maybe I have AMR or whatever. Like, there's no headache, nausea, vomiting. Are there symptoms to this?
Okay. Of recent, there is this trend that came out that a baby was born with colistin resistance. Of recent, I don't know whether you saw the news. So that's like when babies are born, there is test for antibiotics and the rest of them. I think majorly in babies, you check for drugs like polio drugs that they use in babies. There are some that don't work anymore on those babies, or immunization, basically trying to immunize babies against these bacteria. And you find out already that they are already immune, the drugs you are using are already resistant to those children. Like those children cannot respond to those drugs that you're giving them already, because now, due to passage of AMR. AMR is not like a sickness per se that you feel.
That you feel, yes.
Yes, it's not a sickness that you feel that symptoms. It's just like you are treating an infection and you go to hospital and tell them that you have this infection, so infection, and they decide to run a lab on you, and they're trying to find the best medication to use on you, and then you realize that ciprofloxacin, maybe a wide range of antibiotics cannot respond to the bacteria you have. But how many times do people go to a med lab to find out how to cure their infection? They just go to the clinic and they take, which is the most normal one, I think ciprofloxacin for typhoid. They don't even check, am I still responding to ciprofloxacin? You understand? So it's not like something that will give you an information till you need antibiotics and it doesn't work. Like you are trying to treat something and you've taken gentamicin, you've taken this, and you're like, oh, this is not working again. So you now go for that. I think it's a test. You now go for it. It's a susceptibility test. But so you go for it, and then you are seeing that these stuffs are not susceptible to what I'm treating anymore. And maybe like the generation of drugs you need are like the most expensive ones at this point, or the ones that sometimes we even have a list of drugs that are not working for you anymore. So that's how it's not a sickness per se or that has symptoms that you find out.
So basically, when you now have the sickness, that's when you now find out
that you don't have drugs.
It's very dangerous. But then to answer his question, please go ahead.
To add to what he said.
Okay, please go ahead.
If these antibiotics, right? I was going to make a distinction between antibiotics and other classes of drugs, because he asked about our activities, depths of what we want to do in awareness, right? We were at a secondary school yesterday as a club. This week is World Antimicrobial Awareness Week, declared by World Health Organization. So we've been carrying out a lot of activities just to tell people that this thing exists, right? So if you look at antibiotics are drugs you use to stop the growth or kill microorganisms. It's different from what you take for headache. It's different from what you take for, there's an antibiotic for ulcer, but it's different from other classes of drug. So we don't get it mixed up. So you don't say that if I undertake paracetamol now, I'm going to have AMR. No, it applies only to antibiotics. And antibiotics, I think the first antibiotics was penicillin by Alexander Fleming in 1928. That was when he discovered it. Before then, people died of infection. You could have a cut, and that cut will kill you because it will get infected, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? So when he discovered penicillin, it was like a magic bullet. Oh, this drug cures a lot of this. And penicillin is a very powerful drug. Very powerful. But over time, as people kept using it, so if you have a cut, you take penicillin. If you have cough, penicillin works. If you have a UTI, urinary tract infection, penicillin works. So it's what we call a broad spectrum antibiotic, right? So over time, people started using it. If you have headache, you use penicillin. If you have anything you have, just take penicillin and you'll be fine. It's like the magic bullet. What happened is that these organisms, what is responsible for infection, not disease now, infection, started developing resistance. So over time, penicillin stopped working. So people that had cough, for instance, that penicillin would cure before, it no longer cured it. This is antimicrobial resistance. That this drug once worked, but now it's not working again. And so it prompted scientists to start looking for newer drugs, because it's no longer working and people are dying. We need something else. Started working and finding new drugs. Now, the more they use those drugs, the more the resistance. So it just keeps pushing us to the edge of the cliff. And if invention does not match this resistance, we will go back to where we were before penicillin arrived, right? So that's also what I wanted to add.
Right, just to answer his question, so what's the plan with the awareness?
The thing is that a lot of organizations are prompting or are coming up for this stuff. We have, example, the Prevent Antimicrobial Resistance that formed that got us here, the club that formed our club. We have DRASA. DRASA Health is also doing works on EMR. So the thing is, a lot of organizations are picking up EMR as a global pandemic that needs awareness on. That's why even WHO gave it a whole week of awareness because, like we said, silent pandemic and nobody knows about it. Like, we went to the farm yesterday, also still yesterday, we went to farm and we are talking to farmers about how EMR, how they can mitigate EMR from their farm, because it's like, it's not just human beings that cause this infection. We'll get to that. But then while we are going there are like 300 farmers in a particular section. And nobody knows about this EMR, and we were able to get to 50 or 60 persons, but then the whole field was like, the number, we are outnumbered at this point, and we were tired already. You know how it is, talking to one-on-one discussion, you have to engage them, obviously. So the number is large that don't have information about this. And we need more workforce, more people talking about EMR, like getting the words out there. So the activities we've been doing so far to get the word, spread the word, we've been having rallies, a lot of stuff. Actually, this club is not just in ASU. We have other schools. We have about something schools that have EMR club in them. So I think now, as of this year, the WAAW week was actually very big. Like a whole lot of webinars, a whole lot of programs. Unlike last year, I think the number of persons, the number of organizations that picked up EMR this year is huge. Even there was this event we went for the other day, Microbe Madness. Yes, it's like very, very beautiful something, and I was amazed because in as much as we are doing outreaches and stuff, I didn't think of using art or using the beautiful, fun stuff to tell people about this, but the whole stuff was really good, and people are actually making noise or saying things about EMR right now. So if you've not heard it, maybe you've not been opportune to, and I believe the message will get to you one day.
I want to now ask something, because I think it just occurred to me, and it's just for me to get more clarity, especially with something that you said, when penicillin came out and, everybody was using penicillin for everything. Are you saying, or does it mean that it is hereditary? Is it hereditary?
No.
So if it's not hereditary, then how do people now start to get all this thing over the years?
Okay, so it's not hereditary. First of all, I want to understand that infection is infectious, it's communicable.
Okay.
So, and what causes it are microorganisms. And these microorganisms they move from person to person. For instance, if someone has cough, he coughs into the air, right? And in his sputum, in what he coughs out, a microorganism. So if you come into that space and breathe it in, if that strain was a resistant strain, you've gotten that resistant strain. And this is why this AMR thing is so tricky and slippery, because you could complete your doses, you could not abuse antibiotics, but then I'm doing it, and then using this cough, for instance, now I cough in the air, and then you get it. So it will be hard for you to trace where it's coming from. Because it's communicable. It's communicable. You don't generate it, you don't inherit it, you acquire it from someone that has it. That's why I was seeing a video, and he said, we are not safe until we are all saved. Because, okay, just jumping ahead of myself, this One Health approach we're talking about, there's this, how we import food, we import animal food, import chicken, import whatever. If there's a resistant strain from, let me say, a resistant strain from yogurt now, from Holland, and then we import that yogurt to Nigeria, the resistant strain they have in Holland, we'll start having it here from that yogurt. So it's infectious. It's, like I said, it's a pandemic.
It's a real pandemic. It's very infectious.
You mentioned sexual intercourse and the rest of them. I mean, infections are very, very common.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, just to wrap it up, you said something about the causes that's not also caused from that you were talking to farmers and you were going to get to that. So tell us some of the causes.
So causes of antimicrobial resistance, like we've already established in the beginning, underuse of antibiotics by persons. You have overuse of antibiotics. You have medications like self-medication. You can walk, very, very common. You walk into pharmacy and you are telling you walk into a clinic, sorry, not even clinic, a chemist, and you're telling the chemist, give me Bisham and Piclos, which is the most common, and Bisham. So they give you Bisham because they don't care, they want to make their money, and you go home. You don't even know whether Bisham is the appropriate drug to use at the time. So self-medication is part of it. Also, animals, you know, when we went to pig farm, the reason why we went to that pig farm yesterday is that this. So farmers, they use a whole lot of antibiotics on pigs. Even as growth regulators, they want the pig to fasten up. So they pump in a whole lot of antibiotics to pigs. And eventually, we are the consumers. We eat these pigs eventually. And undercooked meat, once you don't destroy those bacteria now, they come to us. They come to us as the end users now. We've ingested maybe some of the bacteria from the pigs that we ate, the pork that we ate in the roadside. So now the implication is that the drugs that are meant to work on us, you've abused it on those pigs. So now you can't even compare the dosage of drugs you give to the pig to what I'll receive. You get, so now, depending on the size of the pig, depending on how much yes, exactly. So, and it's even stronger. The antibiotics are stronger used in farm than us. Our body, we need to check the liver, we need to check certain things before we give drugs. So now, when you are treating me that got the infection from a pig, it's not going to work on me because the resistance strain that the pig has even survived in the pig is now in my body, like that kind of something. So it's like a whole lot of
This is a pandemic. This is a pandemic. On a final note, how can people protect themselves?
Okay. Protect yourself by not self-medicating. I'm big on self-medicating because antibiotics, they have a very wide array of antibiotics, different, and there are intersections in their use cases. That's what we call indication. So an antibiotic could work for instance, could work for cough, could work for, let me say, a GIT problem, right? But there's what we call first choice of drug for a particular infection. Now, if you're not a health practitioner, if you're not a pharmacist, you're not a physician, you don't have sufficient knowledge about this, and cases differ. So based on the peculiarity of your health condition, the pharmacist and a doctor from his training can know, okay, this is what to use for you, right? So they can do that and then you'll be fine. But if you say, this is what happened to my friend and he used this drug, it could be different from your case. And if you use the wrong antibiotic for an infection, you expose yourself to antimicrobial resistance to that drug that is the wrong one. So that's why you don't self-medicate. And hygiene, washing of hands. This thing is, I feel it's not spoken enough about washing hands. Because I was telling a friend that your stomach, from your mouth to your rectum, is just a continuous pipe. It's like an extension of the environment in your stomach. The easiest way things get to us is by our hands. How we touch things and then eat. Just shake a friend, hey bro, what's up? And then I'm buying buns, I'm buying that kind of thing. Get into your mouth. So washing of hands, hygiene, don't self-medicate, complete your medication. If you're giving an antibiotic especially, and say take it for 7 days, some drugs, the duration is use this drug and then stop it 48 to 72 hours after the symptom has stopped. So it's not when the symptoms stop, you stop. Because there's a level of bioburden you have for microorganisms for them to cause symptoms. They can be in your body and not cause symptoms. Yeah. So if you take it and then you stop the symptom, they're still there. Yes. That's why I take it 72 to 48 to 72 hours after the symptoms. So complete your medication, completely remove, let that drug kill all the microorganisms here so they don't develop resistance.
All right. Thank you very, very much. I mean, this was very eye-opening. And if you're at home, please don't underuse your medications. Finish it. Don't also overuse. Don't self-medicate. Wash your hands. Practice proper hygiene. All of those good stuff, because you could find out that you're no longer susceptible to almost all the antibiotics that are in the market now. And you now get the ones that are very expensive. And they might not even work, or they might not be readily available. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Kamilu Sikechukwu and Lucky Chukwebuka, for joining us this morning. We'll go on a very quick break. When we return, we'll take our final conversation on the morning show. Do stay.
ladies, join us on Gyno Plus every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Afia TV, DSTV channel 254, and GoTV channel 17, where we will delve into health issues affecting girls and women in society.
Breastfeeding doesn't even cause breastfeeding. The frequency of breastfeeding means the approach you take to make sure that your well-being is maintained.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show on here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did single. For real.
You're not a backup singer.
That's what they do.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap. You know, everybody wears red cap. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzen also mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday, 6 p.m., if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life who common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with the Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, oh, I need to do this. Let me pour to our ancestors.
Week and another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending, and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'an mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake nemo no Afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo an ma watch Afia TV na kwado kwandibu. Inda ba ni ne ta hana watch Afia TV. Afia TV na mo fima dalono.
Days since the last day of last season, we are ready to do it all again. Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Stay connected for all the football you want, starting from 5,100 Naira per month.
There's no mountain we can climb. We can make it if we try. If we all say yes, I believe that there's no mountain we can climb. We can make it if we try.
From the commercial nerve center of the southeastern Nigeria, the Abia State Government and Aba Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, ASIMA, invite manufacturers, investors, trade unions, captains of industries, and the general public to the 2024 Aba International Trade Fair Summit and Exhibition. Take advantage of these opportunities to showcase your business to the rest of the world. Improve your sales and brand visibility. Date 28 November to 7th December 2024. Venue Aba Mega Mall along Aba Umaya Expressway, Osisioma, Abia State. This message is endorsed by the Abia State Government and Aba Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, ASIMA. For partnership, sponsorship and participation enquiries, visit www.abainternationaltradefair.com. On Facebook at Aba International Trade Fair, on X Aba International Trade Fair, or call Marcus on 0806 605 4420 or Sam on 0802 826 9391. Aba International Trade Fair. Be a part of it.
Unwrap a world of entertainment with DSTV.
Smash it, all right?
Wow, it's who I am.
It's time for you to see the world.
Welcome to paradise. To the future.
This is where all the fun times are happening.
There we go again.
Fantastic goal! Join me. Add a little more to your festive with DSTV, your home of entertainment.
You're welcome back to the program. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show, and it is no longer news. I mean, it wasn't news when the presidency requested a 1.767 trillion naira loan to add to the 2024 budget. So this is not even, it's still part of the 2024 budget. It was not news when it was requested, and it is not news now that, you know, it has also been approved. To fund critical infrastructure and development projects. While some see this as necessary, others are raising concerns. Opposition, the citizens are raising concerns about Nigeria's growing debt profile and also what the monies are being used for. To have this conversation and to, you know, help us make sense of this to an extent, because I don't think any Nigerian can really help us make sense of this completely. We've just been joined by Barrister Chiagozie Nwabuko, who is a lawyer, chartered mediator, and conciliator. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning to you, Favor. Good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, let's start from the beginning a bit. When you heard about the request for 1.767 trillion, which is $2.2 billion. How did you feel about it, and now that it has also been approved?
Well, I am rather surprised at that, because the federal government just unveiled the 2025 budget. So I don't really understand the relationship between, you know, trying to bring in another, you know, borrow money for 2024 budget when 2025 budget has already been unveiled. I think it would have been proper for the federal government to approve the 2025 budget, and then we'll go ahead with it. We're almost there at the end of the year.
Approving 1.77 in
just a couple of like 5 weeks.
5 weeks to the end of the year.
So I don't understand that, honestly speaking. So I don't want to make skating remarks, but then I don't understand that. We just have 5 weeks to the end of the year. I think we should be focused on approving the 2025 budget and then know how we take it from there. So I don't see the necessity for that. The October allocations have already been released to the states, federal government, state and local government. So I don't know what else the federal government wants to do with the $2.2 billion that it wants to borrow. The approval for borrowing has already been there. If you look at the 2025 budget, you understand, we are going to borrow about 13 trillion. Understand? When we're talking about 2025, then we're also borrowing for 2024 that is coming to an end. So I don't understand. So maybe anybody who's an economist can make sense to it, because for me it is senseless. It doesn't make any sense.
But at this point in time, Apart from us always seeking to borrow money, are there other alternative means we can actually raise these monies we need to, ingest in our infrastructure, other than resorting to just going out all the time to borrow and keep borrowing, and at the end of the day, we don't even see what these monies are being used for?
Well, borrowing is not wrong in itself.
Yes.
The problem we have borrowing in Nigeria is that we borrow and we fritter it away. We borrow and then we channel it to sources that are not actually the proper sources. We borrow and then we misappropriate. That is the challenge we are having. Countries borrow, understand? Even United States still borrow. But then my worry is that we keep on borrowing. If you look at 2025 budget, it's scary because the federal government is trying to appropriate 17 trillion naira for debt servicing alone. So the money allocated for debt servicing in the 2025 budget is almost bigger than the recorded expenditure for 2025. So my worry is that we borrow and we don't utilize it. We borrow and we buy yacht for the president. We borrow and then we distribute to the National Assembly members. We borrow and then we don't know where these funds are injected. Borrowing, there's nothing wrong with borrowing. But then we are also looking at, definitely we must borrow, because if you look at how much we're expecting to as income, based on the oil and non-oil sources, it's not going to be sufficient for us. So we must borrow. But the worry is that after borrowing, what do we use these borrowed funds for? That is the problem. And
some other critics are concerned about our debt profile. It's increasing, it's running up to like 200 and something trillion, and then again, we're here borrowing more, right? So what do you make out of that conversation by critics calling out on our debt profile increasing quarters by quarters by quarters?
What we should do as a government and as a people is to cut down expenditure. That's what we should do. We should cut down government expenditure. In fact, I was shocked when, instead of cutting down the ministries in the federal government, we are having more ministries, we are having more ministers. So it appears as though the federal government is actually moving very fast at the edge of the precipice. We are sliding down at a very fast pace. That is why every year IMF will encourage us to devalue our currency. So the more we borrow, the more our currency is devalued. The more we borrow, the more naira is becoming almost like a tissue paper. So what we should do is to cut down expenditure, cut down our expenses. We are running a high expense government. Unless we cut down on government spending, cut down all this expenditure, we are not going anywhere. We keep on borrowing. So any government that comes in finds borrowing is an easy way. For me, it's a lazy man's idea of running a government. You try to just borrow, go out there, borrow, go out there, borrow.
Asking a question,
sort of taking as if there is no box.
Yeah. So I was asking the question: are there no other ways we can actually, fund this infrastructure? Look inwards and find ways to, mop up monies, and sponsor a functional or whatnot infrastructure, right? But than borrowing all the time.
Now, like I said, borrowing is a lazy man's idea, a lazy man's way of running a government, because we can, like I said, we can plug loopholes. We can cut down expenses, government spending. We can plug loopholes of corruption. Thirdly, if we secure Nigeria, because secure people can do business. This is that businesses are leaving Nigeria, multinationals are leaving this country. So we are not actually productive as a nation. So we adopt the lazy man's approach to go and just borrow money instead of looking inwards. There are lots of businesses in Nigeria that are not taxed. Cattle rearing in Nigeria is not taxed, and nobody wants to talk about it. We are being very careful and edgy. We don't want to talk about the cattle business in Nigeria. We are not taxing it. That cattle business is actually a whole lot of multi-million naira business in Nigeria. They are not taxed. People are rearing cattle everywhere. Nobody's taxing them. So we can look at taxes, not oppressive taxes. We can look at functional taxes, where we can actually generate money for the country, instead of adopting a lazy man's approach of going to borrow money and then fritter it away and then borrow money again and then devalue the currency and then we are not going anywhere. So I agree with you. We must not always borrow, at least to the extent we are borrowing. We can look inwards and then try to generate revenue. Revenue we need to run this economy is in Nigeria. We can generate enough money to run the economy. If we secure our country, we can even generate enough money from our oil sources. But then we are not producing. Now, if I looked at 2025 budget and I was laughing, they pegged the issue of oil income from oil sources at about 14 trillion. And we're looking at 2.06 million barrels per day. And as at now, we are getting roughly 1.4 million barrels a day. So our budget is actually predicated on a ruse, because as at now, we are not producing 2.06 million barrels a day. We are about 1.4 million barrels a day. So Eventually, we are in a budget deficit. And bottom line, we go out again and then we borrow.
I'm going to say something, and which is a point you made, which is we have to look inwards. And with looking inwards, the presidency is very aware of the problems because I don't know why I'm still hammering on the speech, the speech at the G20 summit, because during his speech at the G20 summit, he talked about terrorism. He talked about insecurity, saying that our farmers cannot go to the farm, saying that our children are out of school and all of that. And a lot of people were saying, oh, what a way to demarket Nigeria. Why would you say something like that and all of that? And then other people were saying this is just a way for him to still go and get more loans or get more aid, you know, and continue to keep us, you know, in debt and debt and debt. Because by the time these people are saying, oh, this is where we are currently, it will be loans, it will be aids, we're not getting it moving forward. Because
it looks like you're mortgaging Nigerians' future.
Exactly, because you know the problems that we have. You are going out to say the problems that we have, but we are not seeing anything actively being done about it. So you're still going outside the country telling foreigners, telling foreign investors, oh, we have problems, these are our problems. But when you come back home, nothing is being done about it. We saw headlines today saying, oh, our policies are making changes. Nigerians are good with the policies. But 2 days ago, you went to tell the world that we are hungry and that, you know, we cannot go to the farm and we are insecure and all of that. So, I mean, do you agree with critics that keep saying that we are not seeing the impact of these debts and these loans and these aids, you know, in the policies? I will not even say the economy, I will say policies, because the case for the presidency is still that our policies are changing. We have a lot of political spokespeople saying the policies are making waves. The IMF is saying the policies will change Nigeria, we will get the policies done. We keep hearing policies, policies, policies. But do you agree with the critics that are saying that we're not seeing the impact of the reform policies in Nigeria?
I don't see any reform, honestly speaking. The only thing I'm seeing is that we are increasing taxes, that's all. What reforms have we seen so far? What reforms? In what area? Is there a legal reform? Is there an economic reform? There are no reforms anywhere. The only thing we are seeing now is just an increment in the rates of things, you know, increased tax. They try to get it to 45%, and then another states say no, is a no for them. So what we are just seeing is I can't explain it, but then we are not actually making progress. For me, there are no reforms. We are all simply leveraging on the old policies and then try to exacerbate it. People are suffering, that's the fact. So a reform is actually supposed to deliver good governance to people, but we are not actually seeing the impact. You can't tell me that you have a reform and that, like the last year's budget, they say is a budget of renewed hope. Right now we are hopeless, so we are actually seeing any reform. We are living the day as it goes by. We are not expecting better to happen to us. People are suffering, so we are not seeing any reform. We are simply seeing that things are getting worse off by the day. What the reforms are they talking about? You are devaluing the Naira and then you're telling her you are reform. So is it a positive reform or a negative reform? I will agree if they say there's a reform, but it's a negative reform that is not taking Nigeria anywhere. I agree with the critics. I'm one. So we are not seeing the changes. We are not seeing the improvements in livelihood that Nigerians are suffering. So all this borrowing that we are taking, we are not seeing the impact, the positive impact on this borrowing on Nigerians, on the poor masses, on anybody. We are not seeing the effects. You are borrowing for security. Nigeria is still very insecure. So what are we talking about?
I want to
more when you are borrowing. So we are paying more. We are servicing our debts. Like this 2025 projected debt servicing is pegged at about 14 trillion debt servicing for 2025. So we keep on borrowing and we keep on frittering it away. At the end, Naira is being devalued and our economy is going down. The country as a nation is going down.
So if from what I understand is that the immediate consequence of our continuous borrowing will be Naira devaluation.
Definitely.
That's the immediate consequence. But on the global front, what would it mean for Nigeria as a country if we continue to borrow? If we get maybe a new administration or something like that, would it be difficult for maybe other presidents or other people in power to continue to borrow? What would it look like for Nigeria on the global front?
It will only take an ambitious government that will not be self-serving. An ambitious government that will look at it and say, hey, we've not come to chop money, we've come to serve the nation. We will take a government that will even slash their salaries and slash the salaries of public office holders.
And invest more in PP.
Yes. So it will take a government that will convince people that they can partner with the people. There are lots of money in circulation. You see, there's one funny thing that the government is doing. They're trying to force us to invest in the country. No, you don't force people. You make ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Make it favorable.
Make it favorable so that we can come out. A lot of people are holding money. That's why the federal government is trying to, the CBN, through the federal government, through the CBN, is trying to mop up funds, cash. If you go to the bank, you can't even access your own money. But that's not the way to run a country. You have to get people to believe in your government, get people to believe in your policies. First of all, call down the cost of government. Let Nigerians have confidence in our leaders. Let them know that our leaders are there to serve us. They are not self-serving, they're there to serve us. We can work with them. We can make sacrifices. Nigerians are ready to make sacrifices if they see that the government is making sacrifices. So it will take an ambitious government. If not, if we have government that are similar to the ones we have now, we keep on borrowing, and Nigeria as a nation will become a dumping ground for the West.
But my question is, let's compare, right, regards to other nations in the world and how they borrow and do the due diligence, right? And we looking inwards too, and we always borrow and we're wasteful. Yes. At the end of the day, there are no track records of all these monies where they are channeled to, and they keep missing. So in comparing other nations of the world and in Nigeria in borrowing, what are the yardsticks? What are the indices, the indicators like we have to look out for? You know, like when we are borrowing to, you know, cushion effects, literally, and also when it comes to calling out these leaders who embezzle these funds too. You know, let's just oppose other nations and Nigeria when it comes to borrowing and we being wasteful and then implementing what these monies are actually borrowed for.
You know, the bane of the Nigerian society is corruption. Do you know how much we lose every year? Hundreds of billions of dollars or billions of naira we're always saving in medical tourism because we don't have very functional hospitals. Do you know how much we lose every year as what would have been the revenue to the government? Our young people are leaving the country in droves. You know, skilled labor are leaving the country in droves. People are leaving to study abroad. Let me take medical tourism, for instance. Do you know how much we are losing every year because somebody who is sick and he knows he can't access adequate medical care in Nigeria, he leaves the country. For him to leave the country, he will have to buy dollars. So a few naira we have, they are chasing dollars, so people will leave the country. So because of corruption, we are not even investing in critical infrastructure. Do you know that medical tourism alone, medical industry alone can generate trillions of dollars for Nigeria every year? That's the medical industry alone, because in every country people get sick. You can't stop people from getting sick. People have terminal illnesses that we can't even treat in Nigeria. So you mop up all the cash you have, then buy dollars. So we are looking for dollars instead of looking for naira. If our hospitals are working, we have at least the sub-Saharan Africans coming to Nigeria for medical treatment. So if they come, they will bring in naira, and our economy will come up. So because the corruption is actually dealing with us. So people are running away from this country. Young people are leaving every day. An average nurse that is in training now tells you that once she's done the training, she's leaving the country. Same for for doctors. So corruption is actually dealing with us. Until we deal with corruption, we are not going anywhere as a nation.
And that brings me to the judiciary and the anti-graft agencies. What are they even doing to, you know, go after these people and also mop up all those cash missing somewhere or being stored somewhere? What are they doing to you know, help the nation recover from this impending disaster?
You know, the anti-graft agencies are designed to fail. One, the anti-graft agencies are actually an appendage of the federal government. It should not be so. They are not independent. So if the government is not interested in fighting a particular individual, then the person goes scot-free. Today, we are still begging the ex-governor of Kogi State to come to court. Can you imagine that? Because he's a lackey of the federal government. So all these agencies are sort of an appendage to the federal government. It should not be so. And the way they are designed, for me, I believe that if we want to fight corruption, anti-corruption agencies should be independent. They should not be appointees of the government, appointees of the federal government. When they are appointees of the federal government, they cannot adequately fight corruption. And then you have an armed force body that you want to fight corruption around the whole country. It cannot work. It should be decentralized. Understand? So before you can do anything as an EFCC officer, you have to take orders from your boss at Abuja. It is not workable. So it should be decentralized so that different regions or different states or different local governments can have an apparatus that can fight corruption at that level. That is why you don't see anti-corruption agencies, anti-graft agencies fighting political office holders, especially those who are in the ruling party. In America, you see anti-graft agencies fighting even those in government, even ex-presidents.
What's the essence of having these agencies when they can't actually go after those people?
They're not going after anybody. They are just arresting the small fries. They are not actually fighting the real crooks. They are not fighting them. Those people who are actually dealing with the country, they are just pursuing boys who are pressing laptops. I am not a fan of Yahoo boys, right? But then beyond arresting Yahoo boys, those who are actually looting the country dry are being let off the hook day by day. Those are the real guys who should be after.
I think we will leave it at that. Thank you very much, Barrister Chiagozie, for all your thoughts on this particular topic. I mean, it's something that affects every single Nigerian directly. This is not an indirect affecting. It affects everybody directly. The economy, the current devaluation of the naira. The naira is devaluating every single time, and it's affecting everything. Even people that you claim whether you earn in dollars or you earn whatever, by the time you convert that your dollar to naira.
Even if you want to run away from Nigeria, you spend almost 20 million or thereabouts.
Yes,
even if you want to run away, if you want to Japan is not even cheap now.
Japan is not cheap anymore. Like, staying here is expensive. Living here is equally expensive.
So you die here.
Everything is very expensive. Thank you very much, Barrister Chiagozie, for lending all your thoughts on this. And of course, to you, our viewers, thank you very much for sticking with us throughout an amazing week on the Afia Morning Show. Of course, the Afia Morning Weekend Show also airs tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., which is 30 minutes of extra content. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Afia TV Official. My name is Favor Obinyaluba.
And I remain Oji and want you could have a splendid Friday and a weekend ahead. Bye for now.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'an mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake ne mu no Afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo an ma watch Afia TV na kwado kwan dibu. Inda ba ni ne ka hana watch Afia TV. Afia TV na mo fima dalono.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Anka.
It means art in English.
Where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy, the savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.